Hey everybody, it's Ross Scheck-Snyder with Lagniappe Theatre again, doing another makeup tutorial for the Rapides Parish Library, and I have Jax joining me today. Say hello, Jax.
Hello, guys.
Hello. And what we're going to do today is we're going to beat Jax up. Just like you see in the movies. Jax was asking me how they do that kind of stuff. So today we're going to give him bruises, cuts, and scars, and all kinds of fun stuff like that.
Blood that's going.
And blood. He wants blood on his lips. So here are the colors that you're going to need for today. All right. Now you can go to the store. You don't have to get this particular one. This is one that I like to use as a professional grade makeup. It is called Misty Violet. It's made by a company called Ben Nye. You can find that, but any sort of deep violet. Now what you don't want is you don't want a light purple. And the reason you don't want a light purple is because when you go to mix it in to make it look right, it'll actually get lighter as you put it on the skin, and it won't have the right consistency. It'll look almost like they've got more of a makeup look, like a fantasy look. We don't want that. We want to make it look real. So this is Misty Violet. The other color we're going to use today is one called Goldenrod, okay? This is by the same company. This is just kind of a yellow. If you like LSU, these two colors are very much LSU colors if you take a look right there. But you want a deep purple and kind of a golden yellow. All right. You're also going to need some red makeup, black, and some white. Okay. I was going to do a little effect for you where he was going to show you a broken nose, but not everybody can get a hold of fake skin. Normally during the Halloween season, you can sometimes find it like wax skin, but today we're just going to stick with that. I can do the same effect with just some of the makeup, okay? Now here are the tools that you're going to need. You're going to need your brushes. With these, depending on how big of a thing you're going to be doing, my favorite brush to use is the number 4 stubby brush, nice and stiff, okay? You can get these at a craft store near you. Another good one is the number 12, the big fat stubby brush, nice and square. If you're going to be doing any sort of scars or anything like that, you want something you can draw lines with at different thicknesses. This is a sashed brush. And also occasionally, especially if you're going to be doing some very detailed effects, a nice little teeny tiny brush. It's really tiny, isn't it?
Yep.
All right.
Is it as tiny as my eyebrow?
Now, again, if you're going to do a makeup set on them like we did with our Dalmatian puppy, again, you're going to want a nice blush brush, and that'll also mean that you will need to have your makeup set powder, which is right here, translucent powder. And if you want to set it in case they're going to a party or they're going to be running around outside and you want it to last, you get that set, and also the Final Seal spray. You can find a Final Seal spray over there at Walmart. Someone told me that you can find it over there in the makeup section. It actually says like a Final Seal. So here we go. We're gonna beat up Jax. We're gonna start with the number one way people like to show that they're beat up is with a black eye. Now, the one thing I try to tell everybody about black eyes and bruises and everything, there actually is a science to making it look real. And the first thing I want you to think about is that what happens when we get a bruise, all right?
I've got one by hitting one.
You got a bruise where?
I had one, but it healed.
Well, we're gonna put a fresh one on you today, all right? So the big thing with whenever you get bruised is that all a bruise is where blood actually pools underneath the skin. And the reason that it looks the way that it does is because gravity actually pulls the blood into places where it's gonna pool. It's normally when you get hit in the cheek, it doesn't stay up here because there's not a lot of room for it. So it actually falls down into the cheek, and it tends to make what basically is kind of an under the skin kind of scab, and that's what we consider a bruise. All right, and there's different kinds of bruises. There's fresh bruises, medium bruises, and then bruises that are almost healed. So we're gonna start with a really, really fresh, nasty one. We're gonna pretend that Jax's sister Tinley just punched him right in the face. All right, I'm sure that's never happened before, right?
So when he said heal one, he means like light brown one.
All right, so let's start with this right here. We're gonna start with our Misty Violet, okay? Again, when you take your wedge brush, your wedge sponge, start with the fat end of the brush, of the sponge right here on the bottom, okay? Now, turn your face for me right here. We're gonna pretend that he got hit with a fist, right? So when you get hit with a fist, the knuckles are where we normally get hit. So you're gonna have a spot where it's gonna be bruised, where the fist actually hit him here. Come right here. You're gonna see right here, stay right here next to my hand. You'll see right here where my knuckles are hitting. That's where we wanna make that bruise, okay? Now actually his skin's so fair that even when I just barely push, it makes a nice little red mark. So we know where that is. So we're gonna take this and we're gonna start. We're gonna put that right there and a blob right there. All right, so all you want to start with is right there. Now that looks just like nothing. Looks like I just messed around, all right? But what I'm gonna do is now that I put the purple Misty Violet on there with this sponge. Now I'm gonna take the other side of the sponge, the flat side of the sponge, and I'm actually gonna pull the makeup so that I have a lighter section and a darker section to make it look more realistic. So we're gonna pull it down to where we want the blood to pool. We want the blood to pool down at the bottom, not at the top, because gravity is gonna pull the blood down towards the bottom of the bruise. And we're just gonna kind of smooth that out. Pull it away from his nose. We're gonna make it a little bit higher, and that's when I'm gonna take some of that makeup on this flat side, since it's so light, I'm gonna pull that up towards it. I'm just gonna color that in, making the darker section the lower section. Now, if you look at it, you see how it's already starting to look more realistic? You got a really horrible hit to the face. I'm gonna pull some more of that out. Now, we're gonna make this one look really, really fresh. All right, now, this is actually a medium bruise, one that has actually started to heal a little bit, but we wanna make it look fresher. Really nasty, right?
Like
So what we're gonna do, that's right. So we're gonna take some of this red and we're gonna add a little bit of red in it. Not much, because the red goes a very long way and you don't wanna use too much. Now, we're gonna use the thin side of our wedge brush, all right? And we're gonna take this right here, and we're gonna get the thin side of the wedge brush all nice and filled up with makeup, just like that, all right? And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna come around the extra, this lower section right here on his face where the blood would have pooled. And we're just gonna barely tap some of that red in. Not a whole bunch now, because when you do a whole bunch, you just wanna barely tap that in, all right? Now, you'll see right there that already that's making it look a whole lot worse. But what we wanna do now is we wanna blend. So we're gonna take that bottom purple section of our sponge. It already has some, because we want to mix some more of that purple in with that red. And we're not going to pull, but we're going to dab. We're going to dab that purple into that red a little bit. And then just like a gentle spinning motion as you do it, just very gently. Not turning, but just kind of dabbing and slowly spinning, we're going to pull that red in there. Now take a look at that bruise. Ooh, it's looking really bad now, right? Okay, so that's how you make a really effective bruise. Now, when you're working with it, the important thing is, what I try to teach my students is that whenever you put this on, start with that purple, but don't just blob it on. Once you put it on, you've got to thin it out a little bit, making a darker area and a lighter area. And you do that again by taking the flat part of this. Even this red is a little bit dark to me, so I'm going to take the flat side of this purple sponge that I'm using, and I'm just going to pull a little bit of that up so it's not quite so dark. I'm gonna pull it up to a lighter section, all right? Also, you gotta think about the way light affects things. Light, when it hits us, we tend to have a brighter section on top and the shadow comes down here because the light's usually coming from above. So the darker section will be at the bottom. This is how we play the trick of making this bruise look really bad. So I'm gonna take some of this and just blend this red in a little bit more. Now, that looks like a really horrible bruise that Jack's got. He got in a car accident, most likely, because that's pretty bad. I don't think Tinley, his sister, could have done that bad to him. Now, let's say that he's a boxer and he's always fighting. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna now show you how to do a bruise that is sort of healed, okay? Now, we're gonna take that, I already have plenty of makeup on here, so I'm gonna come down to his chin. Let's pretend that he got punched in the chin right here, okay? And we're gonna give him another bruise. We're gonna take some of that, all that purple right there. We're just gonna color in that jowl area right there. Of course, he's so little, he doesn't have a jowl, but you know this section I'm talking about between the cheek and the chin. We're just gonna fill that in because that's a good place for that to kind of happen. Now, you'll see that right there. Again, we're gonna make a darker section by pulling the makeup down to the darker area, which is gonna be the lower area. Now, if I wanna make this bruise look like it's been healing, I'm gonna take a new sponge and I'm gonna put some of that yellow or goldenrod. Again, a nice golden yellow, not a yellow that is a bright yellow. One that's got more of, like I said, a gold LSU color to it will work really, really well. We're gonna put a little bit of that on there, right? Again, with this, we're gonna mix this in. You're gonna see this gonna make this bruise look like it's kind of old. So we're gonna start right at the center of the bruise because we're gonna kind of filter this out all kinds of different ways. Now, right now, you see that it looks super yellow. So I'm gonna take the sponge again, and I'm gonna pull that down into the darker area that we already created at the bottom. All right, I'm gonna need a little bit more. All right, yeah, stretch that out for me. That's what you're doing right now, that helps. I'm gonna pull this yellow into that bruise, okay? And I'm just gonna pull it all over. Now, look at that bruise. Now that's a bruise that's been starting to heal, okay? It's not so red and fresh. As you can see right here, he's got the purple and the red. On this side, he's got more of that, what I like to call like a bruised banana. It's got a banana look to it because it's kind of starting to heal. Now, if you get too much, you can always just take your finger and just wipe a little bit of that off right there and wipe a little bit of that, and you can make it a little bit smaller and then just drag your sponge right over it, and all of a sudden, ooh, he's got another bruise right there. Now, let's say that while Jax was fighting somebody, broke his nose. You want to get a broken nose now?
Yep.
Same principle. We're going to start with that nice bruised color because everything always bruises. All right, lean back from me just a little bit here so I can see. I'm going to start right here on the bridge, which is funny. Your name is Jax Bridges, and we're going to start on the bridge of Jax's nose right here, okay? So we're not going to start on the cartilage area. We're going to feel right up, and that's where the bone is right here, okay? So we're going to just put some of that purple in there.
In fact, if you didn't have a cartilage, you could just push your nose right down.
That's right. You would have nothing to keep that rigid part of your nose. All right, now we're going to make this look super fresh. Now, see right here? Again, take that flat side. This one's good because it's going to pull to the outside. There's a bone right there, and when a bone bruises, you have something really hard that holds on to the material. So we're going to give him that nice bruise. Now, normally when you break your nose, it also bruises into your eyes as well. So if you want to close your eyes for me real quick, Jax, we can give him a little bit of purple into the eyes right here too, that he got like a really bad one. And then we're going to drag it from the eye into the center because we want the nose portion to be our darkest area. But normally you get a bruise there, it bruises all the way into the eye, into the orbital socket right there. Okay, right there. Okay, now he's got that nice big bruise. So now we're gonna give him a broken nose. Now the way we start that is, we're gonna have this, where the bone is actually protruding through the skin. So we're gonna start with a cut. We're gonna have to make him a cut where it came through. Now we're gonna start with this.
I watched the show where two people were boxing and the person's opponent broke their ankle.
Oh yeah, I think I know which one you're talking about. All right, now we're just gonna make kind of an oblong little swirly. All right, now that's where the bone would have come through. It actually broke the skin. All right, Now to make it look more gruesome, we're gonna take a little bit of black to give it some depth. All right, again, take your black, take your stubby brush. I like to use a stubby brush with little things like this, make it nice and sharp. We're gonna come right around the edges of that red, and we're gonna just follow it to make it a little more depth. Darker on the bottom where the shadow would be, lighter on the top. You can kind of mix it in with that red. It makes it look like it's kind of scabbing over. All right, hold on. We're just gonna gently pat a line because we don't want the makeup to really look straight. We want it to look a little bit like it got clumped on a little bit. All right, now you see right there how it's making it look nice. Now back up, a little bit more black. All right, now we're gonna take a little bit of that red, add a little bit more red makeup to it. Here, right over here, buddy. Put a little bit of that red right here. Stack it on top of that black. Okay, now you see right there. Now, we want to make the bone. Here's the fun part. Take that stubby brush.
You see it?
Take the stubby brush, stick it in some white. And what we're going to do is we're just going to give them a little section right here of white. Be very still. Where you can see the bone coming. Ooh, you see right there? It's starting to come through. Now, you got a little bone. Now, if you want to get extra creative, you can head to the local Halloween store, pick you up some fake blood.
So,
all right?
Here's
a little bit of...
You want to look like you were really beat up like that.
Well, we'll get to your lip in just a second. All right, hold on, let me finish your nose. So here's some fake blood. I'm going to dip my brush down in the fake blood. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to dab it right on there. Yeah, and then we're just going to let that pool. And it'll start to kind of drip down. And now it makes it look even more realistic right there. All right, let's say now that Jax got hit in the lip. He's got a busted lip. Busted lips, exact same principle. We're not gonna do a bruise on that one, but we are gonna take some of this red and our stubby brush, our number 4 stubby brush. All right, and then we're gonna find a place to split the lip. Now, the way the lip is a little bit different than normal skin. The lip is actually, the tissue of the lip is actually folds that go a little straight up and down like this. So what we wanna do is we wanna find a good spot. Here, let me, you let loose. You wanna look at it, you wanna find a nice spot, and you wanna go with the grain of the lip. All right, so we're gonna start in the middle because that's a really good place for a lip to get split, is right in the middle. And we're just gonna follow that split right there. Up and down, getting right into that section right there. All right, now his lip got split right there. That's a good place to start. We started with our red. Now we're gonna get some of our black.
You would just...
Same thing, doing on the edges of the black. Here, hold on with me. Hold on, let your lip loose. There you go. Start, and we're just gonna kind of make that scabby look to it. A little more black on the bottom than on the top, so that the blood has been sort of dripping down. All right, now, same thing. You want some of that fake blood? Get a nice thick bit of it on your brush, and what you're gonna do is you're just gonna put it right on the tip. Now, this particular fake blood that I'm gonna use has a minty flavor. It's really just cornstarch and food coloring in a very thick. And that'll actually dry right on there. Now that makes it look like he really got punched right up in the mouth, and you want to go right up to the top of the lip. Most of it will get licked off anyway as the day goes on. So now he's got a nice busted lip. Next thing we're going to do is we are going to do a scar across his face. We can do a cut and a scar actually. So to do a nice cut,
Hey,
otherwise known as a laceration, here, hold on with me real quick. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some red for his cut. We're gonna take our sashed brush. This way we can make a more jagged look to it as opposed to a kind of a blob
you know
line.
the scar? You said scar, like the scar on
You
my
want a
face.
scar over your eye? So let's say that while he was doing it, he got hit right here in the forehead. Boom. That's a good place that always gets cut. We're gonna start right here. Remember to start with the, if you wanna make a fine line, start with the tip of the brush. If you wanna make a more thick line, you start with the the short end of the brush. So right here, we're gonna start right here, we're gonna come down, and we're gonna make kind of a jagged cut. And we're just gonna follow that. Hold still for me. And then we're going to just take that and move, boom. Okay, I'm gonna try to do it where you can see on the other side. I'm gonna say that he got another cut right here, and I'm gonna try and do it so where you can see it. You're gonna come down this direction, and thin brush, boom. So we got a cut right there and right there. Now we just took that red and did it. Now, we're gonna take our stubby brush and apply the black. The purpose of the black is really to make it look like it's kind of scabbing over, which is what most cuts will do, so that it makes it look more realistic. Now, the scab always forms on the bottom first, and then it'll, as it starts to heal. So gravity, you always wanna follow where that is. So if the cut is going this way, we're gonna start on this edge right here, and then just put our black right there on the bottom of it right there. Just like this, okay? Do the same thing on the other side. Right here, we're gonna start on this side, and we're just gonna follow that down, just like that, right? And that's gonna make that cut look a little more realistic. I like to put a little black on the edge just to make it stand out from the skin. But like if the skin got removed, and now you kind of see how it's starting to look a little bit more on the realistic side. And do a little bit right there. There we go.
A little bit of that, and
then
a little bit of this, and a little
bit of that. We're gonna add some fake blood to that real quick. All right, again, you can get this at any local party store or anything like that. Fake blood is pretty easy to come by during Halloween. Now, you just wanna you don't wanna have to do it perfectly. You just wanna kinda get it there. Now, if you wanna make it drip a little bit, you gotta get a heavy amount. And then what you do is you hold your brush up and you put that big thick bit right there. And that might drip down to his eyebrow a little bit, making it look a lot more realistic. Now turn your face that way for me, Jax. Same thing here. We're gonna just give it a little bit. It's gonna make it look a little bit on the juicy side. That could just happen. But we wanna make it look like it's dripping because a cut on the head really bleeds a lot. So there will be some dripping going on. All right, so we're gonna do like right about here. Good, now that's how we do those. Now let's say he was somebody who gets in a lot of fights, all right? And he's got a nice big scar. Now you can do a scar in red, but the better color to do for that is probably like a nice brown or reddish brown. You can find that color again. Most of the Halloween stores are gonna have a color for that. What I have right here, this is actually called an effects color wheel. It's called Master Bruise Wheel and Cuts. You can actually pick this up at a local store. There's, I'll list a couple of places at the end of this where you can buy these things if you want to order them. There's a couple places close by. It's hard to find ones here in Alexandria that do this, but there's a couple of costume stores actually in Texas and some in lower New Orleans and things where you can buy stuff like this. Now we're gonna use this color right here, this kind of reddish brown. We're gonna use our sashed brush once again. I'm gonna get my sash brush and I'm gonna wipe off as much of the red as I can off of it. All right, now we're gonna get a little bit of brown on here. Drag the brown right there. Now a scar, in order for it to really be one that looks good, it needs to be kind of thick. So we're gonna make him look like he's been in a bunch of fights and he got his face cut. So we're gonna come down on the eye where we don't have the bruise. And I'm gonna have you close your eye for me, please. We're gonna start right above the brow and we're gonna move the scar and we can kind of jagged it so that it's not just so straight. And then nice point at the bottom, right there. You see it's a pretty natural looking scar. I'm gonna make that a little bit thick. I'm gonna add a little bit of my,
like Pennywise's.
My red. Yeah, it does look like a little bit like Pennywise. What are you watching that show for? That's scary. Okay, you ready? I'm gonna make it a little bit thicker right here. I'm gonna follow that line down. I'm gonna try to maintain that very thin one right there. There we go. And that's how we do a scar, all right? Now, you want this to stay for the whole night while they're trick-or-treating or while they go to a Halloween party. You don't want them to rub it off and get it on their clothes. I'm gonna once again do the little bit of this powder set. Now remember, you take this. Now don't use your powder set on the blood stuff, okay? On the actual fake blood, it won't work. The better idea is after you've set the makeup, then add that on. But I'm just gonna put this on the bruise for Jax, just so that his bruise doesn't just disappear. Here's a little bit of dust. Close your eye for me so you don't get the dust in your eye, and you just pat it in. Remember, don't streak through the makeup with the powder set. It will smear the makeup. All right, I'm gonna come on this side. I'm gonna put a little bit right there. All right, and again, this will kill the color until you put the makeup set spray on there. You can also use water. Water does work occasionally. It doesn't do as well as the finish spray, which you can also get from the same Halloween stores. All right, now, Jack's never done this before, all right? So close your eyes, close your mouth. Don't open it until I tell you, okay? I'm gonna count to 3 and I'm gonna spray right here on the bruise on this side. You ready? 1, 2, 3. There you go. Hit you on the other, right here on the chin. 1, 2, 3. And then I'm gonna do it right here on his eye. 1, 2, 3. Now, don't open your eyes. Keep your mouth shut. Take something to fan it with. Nice piece of paper, folder. If you have a fan, it has a little bit of this stuff called glycerin, but once it dries, it'll be just fine. So just hold very, very still, okay?
Why is it so cold?
It's got glycerin in it, which is something that people use when they shave to help stop razor burn. But when I do this real quick, as soon as it's dry, just hold on. We're gonna go ahead and fan his face just a little bit. A fan would actually be a better thing if you have a little small fan nearby. That works really, really well.
Can I open my eyes?
Hold on 1 second. Okay, go ahead and open your eyes. Yeah, it's gonna burn just a little bit. Don't put your fingers in your eyes. Just keep your eyes closed. Let me fan it a little more. Close your eyes. Close your eyes for me. Close your eyes. Keep them closed. Keep them closed. Close your eyes. Hold on, let me fan it a little bit more.
My eyes are watering.
Yeah, this stuff will do that until it's completely dry, okay? Some kids don't like the set spray.
I don't like it.
Yeah, but I tell you what, it works really, really well at making it.
Burns.
Hold on, watch your finger.
Like heck.
You're getting, hold on, take this. You're getting some blood on your hands. All right, so again, you can use water. It doesn't work as well, but this will keep this on here all for about 3-4 hours, and it won't.
Open my eyes.
Well, let's see. Open them now. Does it feel better? There you go. See, it's a nice fan job. So let's take a look at him real close and see all the stuff that we did to him. Turn this way. So we got our nice, fresh, red bruise. And here's what I want to show you with that spray on there. What I just did. See like that? I am actually rubbing my finger through his makeup and it is not coming off of my finger. Now, other side. So turn this way for me. We have our nice healed bruise, which we use, and that makes it look nice and healed. We did our scar, we did our cut, and we also did our little lip job. Now, I'm going to tell you, like I said, this stuff can be really intense, but really, I can rub my finger straight through his makeup, and not a single bit of it's coming off of my finger. Now, that's how you do cuts, bruises, scars, and black eyes. And there's Jax wiping some of it off. See how it's not coming off? Just the blood that was actually above. It won't work on that. Now, let me take this off real quick. Take a look right here. Wait, don't take it off yet. All right, everybody have a final look. All right, Jax, you look like you got pretty beat up today. So, hey, stay right here. Say goodbye to all the people at home.
Bye, Goodbye, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much. We will see you for the next tutorial. Have a great day.
Bye. Why?